Governments need to take very seriously their anti-counterfeiting efforts. In the United States, we've raised penalties recently for counterfeiting, and we're constantly reviewing those. Every nation needs to be very serious about deterring counterfeiting, not only because it protects their local industry, but because most importantly, it protects the health and safety of their citizens. The United States is working very closely with nations throughout the world to make certain they have the proper authorities to detain goods, counterfeit goods, before they leave the country. We simply need to make certain that not only do we prevent goods, counterfeit goods, from coming into our nation, but we also need to give customs officials the opportunity to protect their borders to prevent those counterfeit goods from leaving their country. In the United States, we have very strong penalties and we have strong deterrence for counterfeiting, and we've seen that our counterfeiting rates are quite low. We need to always review our laws, but there are a number of nations where counterfeiting is essentially deemed a cost of doing business, and you simply have to make sure that the penalty fits the crime, and in counterfeiting, that means having a sufficiently strong penalty for creating counterfeit goods. Education is critical in preventing counterfeiting. And one of the most important things we can do is make sure we're sharing information. Within the government, we have information in customs and with law enforcement agencies. There's building inspection authorities and consumer protection groups. Each of those has a different way of looking at counterfeiting. We need to make sure we're working together and sharing that information across our different channels. Governments throughout the world are doing a much better job sharing information and coordinating law enforcement activity. In the last year, we had a coordinated takedown of counterfeit products over 20 nations, a simultaneous takedown. We need more of this. Governments sharing information that they otherwise wouldn't have, working together as law enforcement teams, because counterfeiting is global, so the anti-counterfeiting efforts of our governments need to be global as well. Counterfeiting is a global problem, and it's going to require a global solution, and that means governments working together to end counterfeiting and protect the safety and security of their citizens. In the United States, we're taking that very seriously, and we invite every other nation to work with us to end the scourge of counterfeiting. Counterfeiting is a tremendous problem that's going to require all of us to focus our attention to solve it, government and the private sector. And I would call on all manufacturers, all brands, everyone who has a threat from counterfeiting to share information that they have with the government. Customs officials need the information from industry, and they can use that information to help stop the counterfeiting.